Well, I know I've got to get on a bus, but I have no idea which bus or where from. Don't mind if I use your shade, do you? Yeah, I'm in Keelung right now, trying to find my way up to Green Bay, Wally. So, let's find a bus, I guess. Thank you. Getting here was simple, just hopped on a train. There's a lot of stopped buses, but no bus stop. I feel like I'm in a riddle right now. You see a lot of videos which is, I'm in this cool place, or I managed to go here, or I'm exploring this place. But none of them start off with the, I was lost in a town I've never been to before, and all the bus stops are in Chinese. I have no idea where I'm going. I think this might be me. Or maybe it's this one. Who knows? Well, I kind of couldn't tell if that guy hated driving that bus or loved driving that bus. All in all, a fairly harrowing experience, but I'm here. I've gone somewhere, and that's something. You can't take that away from me. Morning, mate. Look at that face. Oh, yes. Something tells me the Green Bay Hot Spring Hotel isn't quite as open as it used to be. And this is kind of indicative of the whole area. Green Bay and this northern part of Taiwan is meant to be the next Kending, which is the southern part of Taiwan, with all these holiday homes and places for people to stop and a beautiful seaside resort. And while there are lots of like water activities and things to do around here, it never really quite took off the way that it was supposed to. I mean, the reason for that is pretty simple, I think. It rains like 6 months out of the year here, and Taiwan's a small country with good trains. You could just go down to Kending, bottom of the country. It's going to be hotter, less rain. It'll be lovely. But I mean, while it's nice, it's really nice. I mean, you've got the mountains overlooking the sea, but big buildings, places like this, just didn't seem to make it. Kind of looks like it won't be long for this earth though. Definitely has the feel of they're going to tear this place down. Can't imagine there's many people living in these. Bet the rent's cheap. Who knows? During the 1970s, what they did was they built a bunch of these UFO looking pod houses. The YesLand UFO houses. Not the other UFO houses that were torn down. This is up in YesLand. And the aim was to have a place for American servicemen to go on vacation. But in the 1970s, most of the beaches were closed off to tourists and to Americans. So you couldn't just do what you wanted around here. And this, not being very far from Taipei, was a great place to send people off on their holiday. I really like them. Look how cool they are. Seems they don't want you going in anymore. I want to be as respectful as possible because I know that they aren't all just abandoned. There are people that live in quite a few of these. So I'm going to try not to just walk into someone's house if I can help it. But without all these shipping containers here, you've got a clear view of the sea. I bet it was really nice. Okay, I'm on all fours. There we go. How cool would these have been? Little 1970s time capsules. Oh god. The problem Taiwan has, as well as many other places, of course, is typhoons. Lots of different tropical storms happen and bash the coast, but up here it's not quite as bad as it is down south in Kending, so you'd imagine that that would be enough for this area to have thrived. Though I I suppose some of these are probably destroyed by typhoons themselves. What the heck happened here? I guess they don't want people going in them, because what happens if you hurt yourself or you fall through the floor or something? I could see that being an issue. There was a lady up there in one of them. Proves that people are living here. And I'll be honest, I did not see that lady at first, and I thought that one was abandoned. So shows that people are living in the ones that you might not even expect. Looks like a house has been built around that one. You can see the pod inside and the building around it. Just kind of making use of it, I suppose. Just like they're sick of people like me. I think these would have been awesome though. Like static caravans, but with a 1970s twist. I guess they weren't retro when they were built. I kind of think they're awesome. An old drying machine, all the amenities. I guess that's the boiler. Bedroom back there. All the pots and pans still in the cupboards. TV. What more could you ask for? And you open up this in the morning and you're greeted with this beautiful view of the sea. It would have been amazing. I also like these tiles a lot. I kind of feel like if these were in the UK, firstly they would have been torn down, right? But I can imagine a bunch of art students moving in, thinking it was pretty cool. They'd kind of be right, it is pretty cool. I think one interesting story about American servicemen in Taiwan, which is a hugely important thing. Taiwan was definitely became an important strategic place, essentially because of the Korean War. So the story is something that not many people really want to talk about as far as Taiwanese and American history goes, but there was a guy in the 1950s called Sergeant Reynolds, I think he was named. Maybe he wasn't a sergeant, he was an officer of some description. He comes home one night after playing cards and his wife shouts down because they've seen someone peering in through the bathroom window at her, allegedly. So, in fine American tradition, Reynolds shoots the guy in the stomach. They call the military police, which is probably the right thing to do. Reynolds goes back over to the person that he shot. The guy kind of allegedly lunges for him with something in his hand, and Reynolds shoots him in the chest. And that's that. Now, for some reason, you'd think he'd be taken in by the Taiwanese authorities. I mean, it's military rule at the time. But that's not what happens. Over half of the officers here had diplomatic immunity. Wherever they were, it was America. And so they didn't have to be done by Taiwanese law. You know, the American officers were so much more wealthy than the people living here in Taiwan, even the middle class. So people got kind of angry about this. So obviously there needs to be a criminal case, something needs to happen. What happens is that the ROC and the Americans both want to try Reynolds. People aren't happy about that. But the ROC don't cooperate at all. They're not happy telling the Americans who this person was. So the thought is that the guy that was shot was also perhaps some type of secret agent or working high up military person. Eventually, he is tried by the Americans. He was going to be let off, but they kind of give in to some pressure. And so what happens is, he's of course found not guilty. This annoys the people of Taiwan, especially of Taipei. The widow of the guy who was shot outside the next day, and around her thousands of people gather. And the result is a massive riot. 6 hours of rioting right in downtown Taipei, right at the American embassy, and where... Alright. You know, such a needy guy. 6 hours of rioting right at the American embassy. And you have to imagine what that would have been like This is martial law, the 1950s. How could this happen? You've got hundreds of people, Taiwanese people, storming the American embassy. While all this is happening, Reynolds and his wife and his family are back off to America, never to be in Taiwan again. And then eventually the military police come and quell the situation. But people were injured. There's quite a few Americans working that got hurt at the embassy. So you think of those UFO houses. It's okay. So you think of those UFO houses and all the people, the Americans that would have been up here enjoying the place, but all completely immune. Other than that though, the Taiwanese and the Americans got on pretty swimmingly until the Americans decided to say that Beijing, not Taipei, was the official capital. Thank you for joining me on another adventure. Until next time, onwards and upwards. Bye.